Get connected, Fitchburg. Sign up for Fitchburg Connect, the city's monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on-demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
I call to order the meeting of the Transportation and Transit Committee on July 9th, 2026 at 6:31 p.m. First order of business is the public appearances for non-agenda items. We don't have anyone present for non-agenda items. So we'll move on to approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the July 11, 2026 TTC meeting.
I will move approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments, questions, changes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have active transportation audit of Agora Block, East Trail Parkway proposal and next steps with Bike Fitchburg. And Ross, do you want to give an introduction?
Yeah, so we have with us tonight Mark Wilkerson, the board president of Bike Fitchburg, to give this presentation. And let me get to it. So I should have had my screen shared beforehand. Is it not sharing? There we go. All right.
Okay.
Mark, you have the floor.
Thank you so much for allowing me to present. Like we talked before, my name is Mark Wilkerson. I'm on the board of Bike Fitchburg. I'm also the founder of a new nonprofit in Fitchburg called Cycling Without Age Fitchburg. We give free rides to seniors and people with mobility issues. So, if anybody's interested, I've got some pamphlets. If you care, I brought more than just one. Yeah. I am using this as my visual cue.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
Just tell me when to go to the next one.
So this started, as board president of Bike Fitchburg. Obviously, I have a lot of catching up to do in terms of what Bike Fitchburg does. I've been a member of Bike Fitchburg now for 3 years. I feel myself falling into the rabbit hole of traffic and transportation. I took a 10-week course, Traffic Academy, with the 1,000 Friends of Wisconsin over the summer, and part of that was a voluntary presentation at the end on some improvement that they would like that we would recommend. So I went through the work. I did AARP audit, and I thought it only beneficial if I brought those findings forward to this board so that you could consider them. So I've got a map here in a second, but the problem, as I see it, is at the Agora Pavilion and extended down Sherrill Parkway during events. My personal opinion is during normal business hours, that's a great road. But when we get a lot of congestion with events, then you have pedestrians trying to cross the street, you have bicyclists, and it creates a lot of congestion. The only marked crossways along that are at Research Park Drive and Woods Hollow Road. Pedestrians, bicyclists, and those using mobility devices are unable or very is not easily able to transition from the multi-use path on the south side across the road to the pavilion or extended into the, I don't want to call it a strip mall, but the business area down the road. Bicyclists are at increased risk, and I know that I saw that they block off in front of Agora Pavilion with cones so that there's no parking there. But I did notice up and down the street where people are walking down the multi-use path and they try to cross over, and the traffic in that area, you don't see a pedestrian until the very last second. I did hear one car beep at somebody crossing the road because either they didn't cross fast enough or they didn't feel like they had to slow down, but I did hear that. And then it's really significant during events like the Fitchburg Farmers Market. And I know that we have other events where that whole road is blocked off. Obviously, it doesn't apply then, but we do have once a month during the summer, we do have that farmers market. So that's kind of the observation of the problem. Next slide, please. We don't have to cover this. I'm sure you're all very aware of the area I'm talking about. During the presentation I gave at the Madison Academy, I needed to have that there. I'll probably move that for backup for later. So it was my first AARP audit I've ever done. So there's probably some huge gaps in it. I'm still learning, and I know I have a lot to learn. But if you look at that stretch of road on a normal day, I think there's a lot of really good things about that road. There's a 10-foot wide multi-use path on the south side. The on-street parking utilization has a traffic calming effect that keeps people slowed down a little bit. And you made a reduction of speed last year from 35 to 30 miles an hour, which I think helps. One thing I noticed during the audit that I never saw before was the speed sign, your speed is. And I watched that sign for 15 minutes. And not once did I ever see anybody go over 28 miles an hour. So everybody that went up and down that road followed, at least going east, followed the speed limit. And there was a lot of traffic. I counted 75 cars in less than a half hour. And that was in between. There was probably more because sometimes I was looking at something else and maybe a couple cars went by. But there was at least 75 cars in a half hour.
And was that, sorry, during an event or was that?
That was during a farmer's market.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
It was like 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, which I also kind of timed it to try and catch, everybody going home from work kind of a thing. So I tried to pick worst case. But during special events like the farmer's market, some of the things that I found to be not so good, there's no curb cuts or marked crosswalks to cross the street. On-street parking limits drivers' visibility of pedestrians. And, for all the congestion in there, even the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, I believe, is too fast. I did do a little bit of research. I looked at the Fitchburg Code of Ordinances, and that's one document of several that I need to do a really deep dive into, because like I said, I feel myself falling into the rabbit hole, and as a board member of Bike Fitchburg, I need to have a better understanding of how our city's put together, what are the restrictions, what opportunities can we work on together. I do have a little bit of a workforce to help us go out and get some stuff done. Next slide, please. So I just made a list of possible solutions. These were just, ideas that I and a couple of individuals had. By no means am I trying to dictate, you guys know your job, you're the experts, right? I'm just coming to you with some suggestions and observations. For me, these are kind of in the easiest to do to maybe the best solution that I would think. But the easiest solution is to install curb cuts with marked crosswalks from the Agora Pavilion and Agora at Fitchburg Center. There's a couple of lists down there at the bottom. Reduce the speed from 30 to 15 miles an hour during special events so that there's more opportunity for accidents to be avoided. Adding an installing a signalized crossing at the pavilion, it would be a good thing to do. Maybe installing a pedestrian island at the Agora Pavilion, but as I talk about that one and I thought about the next one, the bump outs, I actually personally think the bump outs would be better because it gets the pedestrian out there to the edge in a safe zone before they have to cross the street. There's less of a street to cross, and it kind of also restricts that parking so that even if they're parked up and down, right, everybody can see everybody coming and going. So there's some observations that other bump outs have been installed in that general area, reduces crossing distances. So those are the possible solutions that are recommended. Questions on any of those? Did I use any bad language that maybe distracted people or made you confused as to what the heck I was talking about? All good? Okay, next.
Oh, yeah. No.
No, next slide, please. So really, I come here with one goal, for the commissioners on this group to recognize and agree that there's a problem, right? And maybe work together to try and come up with a solution. And the specific next steps are really that this board recommend the suggestions to be transmitted to the consultant, to be included in the safety action plan as part of Fitchburg's active transportation infrastructure investment program, planning grant, included in our Vision Zero implementation. Ross to include the suggestions in the 2028 to 2037 CIP and the 2028 budget, and then implement the Vision Zero implementation. And Ross noted to me that the $802 in funding was really $375, and now I'm going to update my presentation to include that, because I have a feeling I'll be using this presentation down the road a little bit. Any questions on this slide? Do we have an agreement that there could be a better solution there in that area?
Any comments from the committee? Do you have more of your presentation, or?
I think I may have one more slide.
Yeah, we typically will.
Nope,
let's
that's
finish up. Okay.
That's the last slide's my ad.
Wonderful. First, I wanted to see if Ross had any one of us kick it off, or do we want to kick to the commissioners?
Yeah, I can kind of give my quick thoughts.
I would love,
guess.
yeah.
So Mark and I talked about this very briefly at a B-cycle event that the senior center put on. Mark and I both attended that. He just brought this up. So I took a look at it, especially after Mark sent this presentation. I think especially getting curb bump outs and crosswalks and stuff like that is pretty simple to do, especially curb bump outs with flexible delineators instead of concrete. You know, putting in new concrete curb takes Public Works a year or two to actually get accomplished, where buying flexible delineators to kind of simulate a curb bump out is much quicker and cheaper. So I think those things are very simple and easy for the city to do. I do want to just throw out there, I really have an aversion to mid-block crosswalks. And East Sherrill Parkway is one of the worst spots in the city because for having so many mid-block crosswalks. I do think in this particular location, people cross the road wherever they park anyway. So you kind of, I'm not as opposed to a mid-block crosswalk because people are already walking all over across the road, not at an intersection. So if we can concentrate them into a crosswalk, that would be my preference.
I know that personally, if there's a crosswalk available and it's not a quarter of a mile away, I'll prefer to use the crosswalk, even if it's a few extra steps. So
yeah.
And again, it's just recommendations of things that were possible that I learned during Transportation Academy. So, like I said, you're the experts. I'm just glad to be able to sit here and have a conversation about it.
Thanks for your thoughts, Ross. Who would like to start? Anyone have any thoughts in the commission?
I do.
Yeah,
I always do.
please.
And that's why we love you, Rick.
I worked for Promega for 30 years, many of those years being the Agora building, and moved into it when it was first built. And soon after it was built, the Agora Pavilion, which is oddly named the same word but next door to the Agora building, was constructed. And we started having farmers markets there, which were quite small and not all that well attended, and traffic on Sherrill wasn't particularly busy. I don't think hospice was there. I'm not even sure if it went through. So fast forward to today, and now Sherrill is a very busy street. And we are doing nothing but adding more places to live and more reasons to go up and down Sherrill Parkway. And you've correctly noted that one of the most stressed times is during this weekly farmers market. Most of the rest of the time, there are not issues along Sherrill Parkway between Research and Woods Hollow. When I read your presentation earlier today, my first reaction is it's time to move the farmers market off of Sherrill Parkway, because you have so many people coming and going, not paying attention to traffic. Bicycles is less an issue than pedestrians at that particular event, but bicycles try to come there too. And Promega itself has an event once a year that's on Research Park Drive across the pond on the other side on a not busy street with lots of parking and pedestrian access. And that would be a wonderful place to have the farmers market going forward.
Rick, is this kind of the area you're talking about?
Yep, there's just grass there. And so I would suggest to you that your presentation be given to the correct stakeholders at Promega to ask whether, because that pavilion is owned by Promega and they rent it out for other things as well, but they indirectly host the farmers market. So I would suggest that you, since you're kind of initiating this, explore whether it could be moved to a different location so it no longer happened on this very busy street. Otherwise, the apartments make sense, but I think that we're trying to fix something that is not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that particular event, more than anything else, any other time during the week.
Is there any way to anticipate, since we're moving the traffic, a lot of the cars that are parked along Sherrill Parkway are now going to be along that back road?
On Research Park. This is all
Research Park. Are we just moving the problem from Sherrill Drive? I can see where it would separate the problem from the people that are transiting back and forth to work.
That's not a busy street. There's hardly any traffic on there.
There's no through
Until
traffic
you move the
there.
farmer's market. I mean, it's certainly worth investigating.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if we go through the effort of moving a farmer's market, which maybe we need to do anyhow,
Right.
and we wind up with the same problem where we still need crosswalks and whatnot to get people back and forth. But
That's definitely something that I think Promega has safety engineers that can look at that, and if they requested help from the city, that's something I could help kind of project is movement of traffic.
do you have a contact name of someone who might?
It may still be Steve Leverance.
I know
Yeah,
Steve.
he's,
Okay. I know Steve. He's helped me out with some cycling without age.
I think he owns a bicycle.
Great suggestion, Rick.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Steve has his hand up.
Oh, Steve, please go ahead.
Thank you. This first came to my attention when we were giving trishaw rides for the Cycling Without Age program out of the farmers market. And we all know that there are no bike facilities on street on East Sherrill, but we benefit from the multi-use path. But for that event, the multi-use path was not usable because I couldn't get to it. So I do think that I get my hair cut at Eco Salon, and similar problem. You might move the farmers market from the Agora, but the Agora is pavilion is designed for that kind of event. And whether it be a intermittent wedding or a weekly farmers market, the problem still exists for whenever it's used. I don't think that Promega would be interested in dramatically decreasing the utilization of the pavilion to solve a traffic problem. The other thing that I would say that my highest priority would be for a mid-block crosswalk at the pedestrian bicycle entrance, which is right on the lot line there, right there. I think that's where you need a minimum of one bump out. I do like bump outs because they shorten the crossing distance. They allow pedestrians to become visible to motorists, or in this case, bicyclists or trishaw pilots, to become visible to motorists while still on the curb. If you were to do high visibility crosswalks around that, at that point with bump outs, then you could restore the parking, and that parking is heavily used. Right now, we are prohibiting parking on both sides between the no parking signs during those Thursday events to daylight the crossing area. And really, that wouldn't be as effective as daylighting as if we had a marked crosswalk for that occasion, for that position, that location. And I think that at the retail driveways, if you want to slide east a tad, I guess Ross is driving, those driveways, you would have bump outs on only the south side. And they would, I'm sorry, of the three driveways, the middle one and the eastern one would need bump outs only on the south side. That would prohibit parking and allow a ramp, curb cut. And Ross, you and I discussed over at Hostahochee the possible bump out that would be done when the Traceway Drive was reconstructed, or at least resurfaced. And you mentioned that the terrace wasn't wide enough to have an ADA compliant slope. And there, as here, you could, instead of having detectable truncated domes at the street side of the concrete ramp, you could use the other type of detectable warning, the ridges that tell an impaired mobility or an impaired visual user, don't cross here, because the bicyclist would be going into a driveway. At Hostahochee, there is nothing for a pedestrian to exit at that point for, so those detectable ridges say to the visually impaired, don't go here. But the bicyclists would still be able to access the street, and from the street they could access the bicycle facilities at Hostahochee. So I would still like to see bump outs on the south side at these two positions, and over at the Agora entrance, bump outs on both sides. And I think that, you know, what Bike Fitchburg would like to see is for this kind of input to go to the planning consultant who will be doing our safety plan. I don't think that we want the commission to recommend to Public Works that this be done as a one-off. We just want it in the hopper for to say, okay, is this a troublesome area? Yes. We already agree that it is. We already reduced the speed limit. There's a suggestion to move the farmers market because of it. So let's put it into the hopper for possible interventions when we get a list of projects and prioritize them. Sorry, that's a long speech.
Thanks, Steve. Logan?
I was trying to come up with a picture of those detectable ridges, and my technology is not working for me, but I know Ross knows what I'm talking about.
Thanks for the presentation. It was nice to see somebody from outside City Hall putting this much research and coming in and bringing us a well-rounded and well-argued argument. So I appreciate you putting the time and the effort when you're not getting paid to do so. There's certainly I will not dispute there's a problem by any means. The couple times I've taken the bus to get to meetings here and try to cross at Research Park and at Sherrill, that's not a fun crossing, even outside of, and frankly, I might even say the farmer's market makes it better because people are expecting there to be traffic there. But if I were to go to the library board meeting on a Wednesday on the bus, people aren't expecting the pedestrians to be using it. So even outside of the farmer's market, I would love to see those flexible delineators or some kind of bump outs at that intersection. And I think I'd sent Ross an idea for that, or maybe I wrote it and never sent it. I can't remember. I was trying to find it in my inbox. But around the time of that, fatality with the bicyclist, that before we knew that it was not driver error per se or cyclist error on that incident. Yeah, I like the idea as well of kind of funneling the traffic or the pedestrian traffic, if you will, using that mid-block crossing. I agree with Ross 100% where there's a lot of crossings already. Adding more isn't a great, not exactly excited about it, but recognizing that the human behavior is such that unless we put a median the whole way down, people are going to, and even still, they're probably still going to cross there. So at least directing them to that spot makes sense to me. And just, to kind of further demonstrate some of the issues we have with visibility in there. I can't remember when, it was sometime last fall. I remember seeing a vehicle actually rolled at one of those driveways in Sherrill. I assume they got T-boned or something as they were pulling out. Somebody didn't see them and the car ended up on its side. Honda Element, one of those driveways there. So there have been incidents there. Fortunately, none that I'm aware of that have resulted in serious injury or fatality. But if we need further evidence to the viewing public of this meeting to demonstrate that is there a problem there, I think that rolled over SUV would be one indicator that yes, there was. I guess not over, but on its side, but same difference. I don't know how I feel about moving the farmer's market. I like the visibility of it on that corner, but Rick, to your point, it was something I'd never even thought of, and it's growing on me a little bit. I had also thought, what if we just close Sherrill between that block, because we've seen when that rollover happened, when there was another incident there, when Sherrill's closed in that block, the traffic just goes right around Research Park and Woods Hollow and there's no issue. But then, like for the Agora Art Fair as well, it's a very easy detour. I would worry then about losing all that parking though for the event. So unless you made it parking only or, through traffic detour, but
I would suggest that would not get followed at all. If through traffic had to go around, no one would pay attention to that.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking the last few minutes of how we could maybe even make that work, and I didn't come up with a good answer, so that's why I was trying to be quiet for a little bit about that. But was like, yeah, it'd be nice, but and also the staff time that would go into setting up the signage, and unless we put some kind of permanent solutions in place, which would also be expensive. So I'm throwing that idea out there as I don't know that I want to do that, but it was a half-formed idea that I thought I'm going to at least put in the room, and maybe somebody smarter than me can pick it up and take it and run with it. But
that's why I'm here.
Any other, Steve, did you have something to add?
You're muted, Steve.
Got it. Okay. Can you go east some more to Woods Hollow intersection and BTCI? I just wanted to refute the too many too many crossings thing. This is exactly what I want to see at Research Park and East Sherrill. I don't know who paid for these. They just appeared, not when I was in service. And then you see there's another crossing at the BTCI entrance there. And if you go farther down, but I don't expect Ross to do that, there's one in front of hospice care for the transit stop right there. I think that these are working well. They just prohibit parking there. Otherwise, the parking solves exactly the same problem. The more people, this is the kind of design that we want to slow traffic, and we want to get traffic speeds down for safety. So I just would like to object to the too many crossings argument. That's all.
Any other thoughts from the committee?
I just have one other comment about that mid-block crossing, so if you wouldn't mind scrolling back to.
At least you don't have to walk back and forth.
Sorry, Steve, you can't see me point, but I came out of this driveway every day for 30 years, and I don't know that we restrict parking right along here, so you'd have cars like right here, even other times, but especially farmers market. And so to see traffic coming when you're trying to come out here and you're crossing this sidewalk, and if you encourage more people to be right here coming across, you're trying to look this direction and also drive that direction with people coming across. And so this would be a much different situation than the mid-block crossing by BTCI, where you don't have a driveway that you're trying to come out of right adjacent to it.
Would, to your point then, Rick, would bump outs or something that, like, no parking from the eastern side of that driveway past that, basically where that the entire area that's on screen right now, and then some kind of no parking restriction on the south side too, do you think that would be enough?
I think that would help, because then you have a sight line to be able to see the traffic coming. But if you can't see until you've creeped all the way out, and then you're looking one direction, and then suddenly there's a pedestrian on the other side,
That's definitely something we can look at, and there, we already kind of daylight this driveway. It's hard to see, but there's yellow paint there. That's pretty easy to extend. We could do a vision distance study there as part of this.
Because yeah, I think, Rick, that's the same, I'm pretty sure that's the same type of situation that happened with that rollover, where the vehicle pulled out.
Yeah, you can't see. It's very difficult, and not everybody may be aware of that driveway is to underground parking that is like 200 cars or something underneath the Agora. So there's a lot of people that come and go out of there.
See no other discussion. Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much for your presentation.
I just have one more question.
Please do.
I have interest in being able to attend these meetings on occasion. This is an open public meeting. I could go hang out anytime I want.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, you just sit on the
I
side.
figure one of the best ways to learn is for me to just kind of participate and listen, so.
Yeah. We also do stream these online, and they're recorded.
Yeah, I'm gonna be checking those out.
Online as well, so.
The TV stuff.
Yeah, thank
All
you
right.
so much for joining us today,
Thank
Mark.
you for allowing me to talk and present.
Mark, I think that if you feel like staying, you might be very interested in both the RFP that we're going to talk about next and the capital improvement program at the end of the meeting.
I would
But
love
you
to.
can also go home and stream it.
I actually have a date tonight with my wife, so.
Oh, well, that's more important. Go home and stream it later.
Have a good night, Mark.
Thanks for, yeah.
All right, next up on our agenda is staff report. Ross?
All right, that one is me. Where did my, okay. This is my staff report. I just didn't recognize it, that's me. So, first thing, Metro Transit has issued the first part of their whole report card and new service requests framework. So they are going to present the report card to Common Council. We're still working on a date for that, but I am hopeful that it will be next month. But they have issued their service standards and design guidelines, which is basically a framework for how they will grade themselves on the service they provide and how they want to design their routes going forward. So there's this table that's kind of helpful. It shows what level of approval is needed for various types of service changes. And then down below here I have all of their kind of grading criteria. So route classification is basically just BRT, frequent, not frequent. There's a few other categories in there, but that's the main part. Route productivity, number of riders per revenue hour, cost per passenger. They state in the document that this is more important on some routes than others. Some routes are pretty profitable, or maybe not profitable, but don't cost as much per passenger. Other routes are there for coverage, and they know they're gonna be paying a lot per passenger, and it's not gonna be completely subsidized by the fare. Service span, how often or how long during the day the route runs. Vehicle load, number of people on the bus. This is basically if you're always sitting at 35 people on a 40-person capacity bus, you might want to start thinking about putting another bus on that route. On-time performance, route frequency, which is how often the bus is at a stop, and then the amenities at a bus stop. So some of these grade the route and would kind of determine whether Metro wants to continue with the route or increase service on the route. Some of them are just, the bus stop amenities on this particular route are worse than our other routes, so we should improve those.
So you're saying this is what would be in the report card that they generate?
Yes.
Okay.
And this document is available on Metro's website, and they are having a public comment period and meeting on July 29th. That'll be virtual. And like I said, they're going to be presenting this to our Common Council as well.
They mock up one bus example, if we gave our report card to this route with this bus, here's
They
what
did
it would
not.
look like.
But they will be giving us a report card for all of our routes.
Yeah. I was just for the public comment, it'd be nice to sort of see what one might look like. And are you saying that this would be the criteria by which they would evaluate a route change like what we proposed with 65 and 75?
Partly, yes.
Okay.
There's other items in the guidelines. So
I thought this screamed out for saying what the role was of the partner communities in their own routes. We remember the D2 change, or was it D1?
D2.
And how it seemed like we didn't have any say in the matter. And so I would ask Ross to give that feedback that the partner community should be involved in their own routes, and the same categories of whether it requires a public hearing or transportation approval, whether TTC needs to approve it or the equivalent in a different community, that kind of thing.
Yep, I have given Metro that feedback, and I believe that is coming as part of this process, guidelines on that. All right, if there's nothing else on that. 2026 street resurfacing, we've been removing and replacing curb and gutter. I don't have Research Park I do have Research Park on here. That just started yesterday. We're doing that in coordination with the police facility. So all the changes for the police station will sync up with our road resurfacing. Sidewalk.
Ross?
Yep.
Are you showing something on? Are you showing something on your screen I can't see?
Yep. I am.
All I see is the commission. Oh, I know what's going on. Maybe I need to have a different view.
Yeah. Like a focus on content or something like that. But I'm just showing my staff report that I'm basically reading, so.
Okay.
Sidewalk replacement, we awarded that to Duluth Concrete for $223,000. They'll get started on that in the next month-ish. Fitchburg Road reconstruction, we got some soil borings done for a modified retaining wall design. We issued amended eminent domain packets to 2 properties that we are condemning. And then we finalized the acquisition of 1 property that had kind of taken a while. So once the amended eminent domain timelines are reached, we will have acquired all property that we need on Fitchburg Road.
Will construction still be delayed till 27?
So we're anticipating utility work to start as soon as those eminent domain timelines are reached. So that's like AT&T, MG&E, all of them moving their utilities out of the way. That will be some pretty heavy construction. They'll be tearing up the road, and we'll be probably doing temporary asphalt over the winter in some spots.
Okay.
And then we're also gonna do clearing and grubbing this year, taking down trees. And then the actual road construction and underground stuff will be in 2027.
Council, alders, be prepared. The public hates the trees coming down without the road going in. So be ready to explain that.
Yep. Bus Rapid Transit attended design meetings and continued coordination with the City of Madison. I think I said this last month, but most of the hard work there is happening in Madison right now. The Fitchburg stuff has been pretty simple, and we haven't run into too many issues so far, so hopefully that continues. And then I have some videos further down, but Jerry Shippo with the City of Madison is going to be experimenting with some interesting transit signal priority, just using detector loops. Usually you need more expensive equipment to give the bus priority at an intersection, but he's actually kind of doing some cool stuff where you just time how long the detector loop is active because the bus is longer than a regular car. So. County Highway MM bike and pedestrian underpass. We're continuing the design and working on the archaeological review for that. Wayland Road paved shoulders awarded to Payne and Dolan for about $750,000. They'll start work on that hopefully this month. I reviewed Stanley Park Place plans, the Syncopation draft TIA, and the No Oaks Ranch TIA updates. So those are kind of development-based things.
Ross, on the Stanley Park Place, is Avante moving very quickly, or trying to do that soon? They just put a big piece of equipment out there the other day, so I didn't know, and I thought they were trying to get that going this summer, but I haven't seen dirt move yet, but it looks like they're close.
Yeah, we have not approved final plans, but they're like getting back to us very quickly, which generally means that they want to start fairly soon.
Okay.
So.
And do we know then if there will be some pedestrian and bike access maintained? When they came before council, I had said that I didn't want to see the multi-use path close at the same time as then the north sidewalk on Lacey closes, because there need to be the curb or the cutout for Balboa Pass.
Mm-hmm. So we haven't seen any construction phasing yet. Okay. Just actual design plans.
Okay. Thank you.
Traffic and safety. We reduced the speed limit on Research Park Place to 20 miles per hour. Have this further down. That's why I was confused. It's part of a pilot speed study. I'm reviewing Schumann Drive speeding and pedestrian safety complaints, and then also we had this later on in the agenda, but design new splitter island markings for Greenway and Coho. Since I was talking about Research Park, I'll just skip down to that and come back to these other items. So we reduced the speed limit on Research Park from 30 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour from Lacey south to Sparklestone, which is the next larger street, the next cross street. So I had our StatTrack radar monitors up there from June 8th to 18th to get baseline data for the 30 mile an hour speed limit. 85th percentile speed at 30 mile an hour speed limit was 26 miles per hour. And then the speed limit just changed on Monday this week, and I've had those stat tracks up again from Tuesday till today, and they'll stay up after this to get more data. But the 85th percentile speed dropped 1 mile an hour with a 10 mile per hour speed limit decrease. So I was hoping that would drop a little bit more, but we'll give it some more time and see if people kind of get used to it. So
it's a permanent change anyways?
It is technically done under our 90-day experimental speed limit change clause in our ordinance, but the way that ordinance is written, we can kind of extend that indefinitely. I don't really see a reason to increase it back to 30. I could see increasing it back to 25 because just we don't have any other 20 mile an hour zones in the city generally. So,
has anyone during that period of time received a speeding ticket on that section of road?
No. For our data collection, I didn't really want to start like an enforcement campaign because we're not going to have that all the time there. So,
Steve, go ahead.
Thank you. Like I was telling Ross before the meeting, my goal here is not to cause people to drive slower. I just thought that this was a good place. Normally, when you try to lower the speed limit, you should change the design of the road so that it self-enforces a lower speed limit. But here, with the curvature and parking on both sides and the constant pedestrian traffic to retail, I thought that it was a good example of a street that was already calmed, and that my goal for 20 miles an hour here is to get residents to see 20 mile an hour speed limit signs in Fitchburg so that it doesn't come as a huge surprise when the next one goes up. So those were my hopes for this experiment. Ross, we talked a little bit about reducing the rest of Research Park from 30 to 25. Is that done or contemplated yet?
to the south?
To the north of the police driveway to
Yeah, to-
Woods Hollow.
So to the north, we're looking at that after the resurfacing is completed.
Okay, and then to the south of Sparklestone, have you thought about reducing that to 25 from 30?
Yes, so yes, that's something we're looking at.
Okay, thank you.
Staff is also in the middle of our annual budget process. That's going to be my whole day tomorrow, is going through the Public Works streets budget. I'm going to skip these videos because we are running a little long, but we have some cool new passive bike and pedestrian detection at the Jamestown Way and Fitch-Rona Road intersection. That's our first traffic signal in Fitchburg that has video detection instead of detector loops under the road. So if you position those cameras correctly, you can detect bikes and pedestrians and basically keep the pedestrian signal running if someone is about to walk up to the intersection, or trigger it automatically, and then they don't have to press the button. So
Same vendor as the ones we tried with the RFB on Cannonball, or different vendor?
different vendor. These are, so the RRFB on Cannonball was a temperature sensor, not a camera, and these are full cameras.
Would it, do they offer that for RFBs? Is that a possibility, or is it only for?
They do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit expensive to install with an RFB versus a full signal.
Sure. Yeah.
And then finally, curb paint.
Logan's been waiting.
Yeah, we've got a couple of locations here. The first one is Lacey at Brassica, between MM and Brassica. This is that new bike lane we put in a little bit ago. So the curb paint will definitely help keep people from parking there. And just kind of a note on this, we're working through this at staff level, and I think some alders got this email as well. But Flight Wine and Bourbon
I think we all
sent,
got it.
Yeah.
okay, that went to all TTC, okay, I forgot about that. Flight Wine and Bourbon is asking what our plans are for allowing their customers to park in this area. They're basically looking to not deter people from coming to their business because they can't park, so.
I just want to emphasize that I had no involvement in them to send that, but you recall that I raised this in the previous meeting.
And then the other big spot was East Sherrill at Lacey. This is technically a temporary bus stop, but it'll be up there for another 18 months. And we're having issues with people parking there, so. And the other one that I didn't get a picture of because it wasn't done when I took these pictures, but on Country Rose Court, which is up in Southdale, there's some carriage walks. They're not Fitchburg sidewalks, but they're basically private sidewalks that kids use to get to and from Southdale Park through some apartment complexes. We basically daylit those. They're not technically crosswalks because they don't have curb ramps, but we still daylit them. So cars, it'll be a little bit easier to see kids walking back and forth.
How long has this paint been there?
Less than a week.
Sometime Monday.
Yeah.
It was there Monday night,
Yeah.
right, biked home.
Is it basically causing people to not park there? Have you
There's
noticed?
no cars there when I took these pictures.
I have not noticed any vehicles parked at Lacey, Nebraska all week.
Yeah, and
I've
I
either
actually,
biked or walked, or bused that
Yeah.
every day, I believe.
yeah, I actually have a friend who lives in one of the apartments on East Sherrill here, and she was annoyed at me that I took away her parking,
Sure.
but she also said she hasn't seen any other cars there, so.
Okay.
And Country Rose Court, when I went by there on Monday, was also being followed.
So, yeah, that's my staff report.
One thing to jump back to the very first item on there about Research Park, and I think at least some people were under the understanding that the temporary bus stop would only be on south side of Lacey until the 30th of June. That was what the signage said on the signs that were stuck in the grass there. And all those signs have been pulled out of the grass and thrown to the ground. But I have a picture, but the bus stop, temporary sign, just sort of sitting on a little pedestal is still there. And now there's no indication when that would stop being a temporary bus stop, so.
We can update those signs.
Yeah, at least the owner of Oasis would like it to have parking there again, but obviously it's gonna be a while.
Yes, yeah, it'll be at least a few more weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Great, well, thanks,
Okay.
Ross.
Yep.
We can move on to our discussion items. First up is the Draft Safety Action Plan RFP.
All right, so this is a discussion item. This RFP will go out at the end of July. I've got, all the background here that I provided for you guys, and we've talked about a bunch of times, so I will kind of skip some of the background. But the goal, what I am looking to get out of this discussion is feedback from TTC about the RFP to make sure that we get proposals for the Vision Zero Action Plan that match the vision of staff, commissioners, and the public. And then I just highlighted kind of the relevant sections of the RFP that I was looking for comments on. So Rick sent comments, but we can kind of open it up.
By the way, my understanding is when I communicate with, about things like this, that I should not contact the whole commission, that I
Correct.
should direct it to you and copy Steve. So you didn't see it, not because I wasn't, but
Yeah.
my understanding is.
Yeah, for open
That's
meeting clause, that's
Right,
the way.
right.
Do you want to share anything that summarize anything or share anything specifically?
I just, the only way to do these is to stick comments, because you can't edit the document and it's buried within the whole PDF of the agenda packet. So I just highlighted sections and made a couple of comments. And I think it'd be better if Ross sort of, highlighted the ones that were relevant, and there were a few things in there that were just wording or terminology.
Yeah, I think maybe we can just go through like section by section, and I'll just use your version of it, and we can hit your comments as we go and get everyone else's too.
Yeah, sure.
So first one, I think this one was about demographic data. We can definitely include more demographic data, but I think.
Ross,
Yep.
I still can't see anything that you're showing the commission.
Maybe I'll stop and reshare. Maybe if I do this, that'll work better. I switched from sharing my screen to sharing the window, so hopefully this works better.
Oh, yes, great. So I'll just alert you, I have comments just on 1.1 and page 5 of the document. That's 2.1.
Okay. This first one, Rick, I think we can definitely include more demographic data. I don't know that it will get us any better responses on this.
I just didn't know how much you put on the consultant to do that research as part of like understanding the city, or how much you assume they already know.
Yeah.
Will they do that as part of data collection if they receive the contract, or?
Yes. Yeah, they definitely would. All of these things that Rick lists here would definitely be needed. And if they want to do that research while they prepare their RFP, they're definitely more than welcome to. So, and then
On that paragraph?
Yep.
So I didn't know whether the safety plan would explicitly include paths. I indicate, and whether Safe Streets for All permits that. But on this sentence where it says highways, I say, and some number of miles of paths. And then on the next paragraph, third line from the bottom where it says fatalities and serious injuries on the city's roads, I would say roads and paths. So basically those two changes are both because I'm hoping that the project will identify any path issues even if they don't intersect with roads. In particular, I'm caring about the Velo Underground where there are no roads involved.
I am not actually sure if Safe Streets for All permits paths in their grants. I will have to check on that.
Okay.
And then, why isn't this showing up? This next one was just identify and prioritize, which we can definitely change that wording. Any other comments on 1.1? All right. Traffic management process. This is actually a good comment, Rick, because I realize I don't say what that is. Traffic management process is how the city receives and deals with resident traffic complaints, resident traffic safety complaints. This is another document that's on our website that I'm hoping to have the consultant look at and review and refresh, because it's related to the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. But that new traffic management process would be included with the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan update. Okay.
Okay. All right, I'll come look for you.
Steve, do you have something?
On that, is that a renaming or should it be called the neighborhood traffic management process? I can't remember whether we renamed it when we updated it.
We renamed it when we updated it, because part of the point was to bring it into commercial areas as well. So having it be the neighborhood traffic management plan, I thought didn't fit that quite as well.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yep. Rick, do you want to?
It says safety projects. Is that what we want to call them?
What would
whatever the word would be? Are they road improvement projects? Are they in other words, when we end up with a list of projects, will that list of projects be called safety projects?
I just, if that's.
I'm not sure.
Or there's like a broader term.
Yeah, I mean, the projects would be focused on safety, they wouldn't be.
Yes.
They wouldn't really be building in, like, you know, our resurfacing plan or anything like that to this priority list,
Right.
so. I think that's an okay name, but if the consultant has a different, you know, if there's other terminology, I'm fine with that too.
And this kind of ties with what Steve said. It's like we mention bikes, peds, and drivers, but then we say it's for the roads. And so, is it only when one of those things uses a road?
Yeah, like I said, I will check on that. I do think even if we open this up to paths, I do not anticipate any path-to-path intersections or like just off-street path sections being on this priority list.
Sure.
So, any other questions or comments on this section? Sorry, my navigation buttons were getting hidden by the screen share. These 7 items are basically word for word from the Safe Streets for All grant and have to be included. Rick, countermeasures here is an industry standard term for these. Safe systems approach is a known framework, and it's called out in the Safe Streets for All requirements as you need to follow a safe system approach in your comprehensive safety action plan. This, I agree with this comment, Rick. Basically, we want to have results of past projects that they've done.
Yes.
And then this one, annual public meetings and progress reports. So creating this plan will not take more than a year, but these progress reports are for our progress in completing the plan afterwards.
Oh.
So the consultant wouldn't be doing this, they would be providing a framework for us to do this ourselves.
I see. The framework is for us to report annually on our progress.
Exactly.
With the projects they prioritize.
Exactly. And just feel free to stop me if I get to a point where anyone else has comments. Relevant components, you said add City of Fitchburg Vision Zero resolution to the list. I will do that.
Do other neighboring communities not listed here have comprehensive plans or items that would be worth reviewing? Town of Blooming Grove, Town of Dunn, Town of Verona. Oh, Town of Verona's on here. Town of Dunn is. I didn't see Blooming Grove, but also they're going away. So.
Yeah, Blooming Grove, I don't think we need to review their comprehensive plan because they'll be gone by the time we finish this plan. But I actually took this list of comprehensive plans from Brad Sippel's comprehensive plan RFP. Okay. So I just stole this list right from him because I figured he knows more about comprehensive plans than I do. Again, feel free to stop me as I'm scrolling through here.
Oh, sorry, I should have done my homework on this one. Was the Beltline study that WISDOT is doing here, would that be relevant?
So,
with
none of the Beltline is technically in Fitchburg.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of some of the projects that are proposed as part of that are within the city. I'm thinking of the extension of, would it be Stewart Street across 14 to Novation.
Rossmeyer Road.
Yes, and we're close with Greenway and Coho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. You can add that.
Perry Street plan.
Yep. I don't know if they have a
published a plan for that yet.
I think you're right.
All right, then.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Back up to C, Charlie.
Data collection and analysis.
I suggest that in the third bullet there, in front of the first LOS, could we say motor vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle LOS? Because otherwise they're going to come back with LOS for motor vehicles only.
Yes.
Level of service.
So we have level of service for, at least in our TIA guidelines, we have bike and ped level of service. We already have that data.
Right, but they are supposed to be providing mitigation recommendations for LOSD or lower. So I wanted them to consider bikes and peds as well as motor vehicles.
Okay, I see. Anything else before the schedule part of this? All right. Then Rick, I know you had a comment here, basically asking if this was enough time to prepare this proposal. Generally, we give about 2 weeks for these proposals. This one is a little bit beefier than our other ones, so I opted to a month. That should definitely be enough time.
Ross,
Yep.
on the list of plans, Milwaukee has gone very far down the Vision Zero road, and I wondered if we should put in their safety plan.
So these are plans that we're going to integrate parts of that are going to be cross-referenced with our comprehensive safety action plan.
Okay.
So yes, they should be familiar with other
I see the difference.
comprehensive safety action plans, but yeah.
Thank you for explaining.
Yep. All right, I think this comment, Rick, was another one of basically provide results of plans that you've done in the past and show that your safety projects have worked.
You made a recommendation, somebody followed your recommendation, and you could measure that it had an impact.
Yes, I think that's great.
Is there any danger in that otherwise responsive proposals might not be far enough down the road to have these kinds of results yet?
That is a possibility.
We'd be eliminating good companies?
That is a possibility. I did kind of think about that with this. I think there's probably a way to word it that if they have produced good plans that just haven't been implemented yet, we can kind of get that in there somehow as well as a possibility. I hadn't figured out how to word that yet.
You could say if applicable.
Right, yep. All right, I think this comment on the selection criteria, we have overall cost and cost effectiveness as a point grade. And Rick's comment is, wouldn't it be $300,000 since that's our budget?
We told them we had 300,000. Is it ever going to be less than that?
I would say if a company comes in and says we can do this for 200 and we'll do it just as well as that other company will for 300, that would definitely be a factor.
Okay.
And I think the value we get as well, 2 plans might be 300,000, but one might give us more value for that money.
Are these pretty standard selection criteria across RFPs citywide?
Yes. So we don't always go through this points approach for RFPs, especially in public works, because we don't do many full requests for proposal. Normally we do more abbreviated RFPs, or we just kind of ask for a couple of quotes. So I adjusted these again from the comprehensive plan criteria. I adjusted the points values a little bit to more closely match what I wanted for this.
Okay. I asked, I'd had a brief conversation with the mayor about whether or not we wanted to have a criteria, one of the criteria be just, and not about this specifically, but in general, about whether we want to give, would 5 points for a local Dane County company versus somebody from Chicago or something. I don't know if that's something we'd want to do here, but it just stood out as we had that conversation. If that would be, all things considered, 2 equal plans, do we put a little bit more weight on the one from somebody from Verona versus the one from somebody from the Twin Cities?
That is definitely something other cities do, and I believe Fitchburg does it for some of our housing plan type stuff, the more like really locally focused stuff. I think this is a specialized and large enough plan that we're really looking for a really large company, like around here, like Strand or AECom, MSA can probably do this work, and they're all local. But I think as a tiebreaker it makes sense, but I wouldn't want to put too much weight on it.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question of if we have 24 local to choose from, or if we have 2, yeah, that does skew it. So
right.
I appreciate that.
In your experience, how many companies will respond to this?
I honestly don't know. I've never done one of these plans before, or an RFP this large for a plan.
Yeah.
So this is, my background is more in construction, honestly. So getting into this planning stage is something that is a little bit new to me as well.
Yeah.
Probably sometimes it's the industry that kind of determines the responses, right? The economic forces at play.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Our comp plan and our zoning code update RFP got like tons of responses, and I think they had like 9 fully qualified candidates. So.
And I know a lot of other municipalities around here are doing these safety action plans right now as well, not just the ones in our MPO grant. So there are companies that in the past wouldn't have applied for these, but now they're like, oh, there's all this work there that we can get if we kind of specialize and hire a few people who know how to do this.
Okay. Well, so just given my question and we don't know, scroll back up to your schedule for just a second. So we give ourselves until the 15th of September to award it. Is that right? Consultant notification, September 15th, so 15 days after the deadline?
Yes, so that consultant notification is basically the time it takes for the people grading these proposals to review them and score them.
And that's what I was thinking, what if there's 100? I don't know if there'll be 3 or if there'll be 100, we don't know, right? So, but we're giving ourselves 15 days regardless of how many there are.
Yes.
It does say proposed.
That's
All right.
Theoretical schedule.
If we have 100, I don't know what we would do. Probably hire another consultant to review.
We'll come in and come out.
Okay, I think so that's basically the RFP. The rest of this is kind of our boilerplate contract that we use. So we would negotiate the rest of this contract with the consultant, and everybody, we make changes both ways on this. So I think that's everything here. Are there any kind of more general type questions?
Anything else from the committee? I'm excited to see what happens.
Me too.
All right, our next discussion item is Greenway Cross Coho Street Safety Update.
All right, so I know, Gabriella, you have a lot of background on this particular item, but in February 2025, Public Works installed a roundabout in a box at the intersection of Greenway Cross and Coho Street. If you don't know what a roundabout in a box is, the roundabout is visible here. I shouldn't have opened it in this PDF viewer, but there you go. So basically this is rubber curb that bolts into the asphalt, and then also these 4 signposts we have here that are in like sand-filled bases. These cones aren't there anymore. We recently painted this roundabout, or we're going to paint this curb yellow for higher visibility, and then later on we'll get into the painting part of it, but Public Works staff has started on this painting, and I'll get to the plan later on. So this looks a little bit different now. Basically the big issue at this intersection was speeding and running stop signs. We received a lot of resident complaints from people that live close by. And some complicating factors. There's both a Metro Transit bus route here, and then a Madison Schools bus stop right by this intersection. So you have a lot of kids using this intersection to get from all the apartments to the school bus stop. So we installed this roundabout, like I said, in February 2025. Even after that install, we've continued to get complaints. So I kind of put together this table with speed data and the differences here. Before we put the roundabout in, you can see the speeds there, and then afterwards, and some of the speeds didn't really change at all. Coho Street south, coming south there is pretty low traffic, so that average didn't change at all. But Greenway Cross to the west of the roundabout decreased by 5 miles an hour, which I think is a pretty big success.
Yeah.
So
Because the volume of cars is really high in this intersection, right?
Yep. So Coho is around 600 to 800 vehicles per day, and Greenway Cross is somewhere from 1,500 to 2,000. So crash frequency has not changed at all. There was one crash in the year before we installed it, and there's been one crash in the year after. So both pretty similar profiles. They were rear end crashes, I believe.
I should remember this, but were there stop signs and we took them out and put this roundabout in instead?
Yes, so it was a minor street stop controlled intersection. So Coho stopped, Greenway Cross did not. We took out those 2 stop signs and put in yield signs on all 4 corners, like a regular roundabout.
And relative to the roundabout, where did we measure the speed?
So this is a few hundred feet away from it, so plenty of time to get up to your normal speed after the roundabout. Cars are going much slower than 28 miles an hour through the roundabout, because it would be very tough to hit that through this roundabout.
Well, I like the challenge.
One big issue is that larger vehicles are too big to go around the center island, and they have to cut in front of it. That's a normal thing at these type of neighborhood traffic circles. City of Madison has several that do that operate that way, but most of theirs are not on Metro Transit routes, so that's really where we run into issues, is with the larger buses. For that reason, we didn't put in splitter islands with this, which are basically what split traffic as you come into a roundabout, and as a result, smaller vehicles can just cut in front of the roundabout as well, and that's a main complaint that we get now. So in the plan view underneath this, this is the layout that we're in the process of painting at this roundabout. We've got arrows, we've got splitter islands, and we're refreshing all of the crosswalks. So this is all paint, none of this is raised. We tried to get raised infrastructure in here. We just trialed it with cones, and in no way that could have been effective could we get a bus or a plow through here. So I guess my focus of this discussion is kind of questions. I want feedback on this iterative traffic calming process where, you know, we didn't quite get the results we wanted at the start, and we're kind of trying different things to see what sticks. And then also using temporary infrastructure like these rubber curbs versus just doing it all in concrete and walking away.
Those crosswalks painted like that?
They're solid white blocks.
Yeah, this is in District 2, and so I've been aware of this for a long time now, and I've heard the concerns from residents. Yes, it's been a little while, and it's a tough intersection, right? Because like the ideal situation would be to rebuild the intersection and fix the issue, but that's obviously like a longer term solution. That's not a short term. And I think one of the bigger concerns, obviously there's the speeding issue, but the running the stop signs with across the street that doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Where the anecdotes were that were a ton of near misses. So obviously not a lot of actual crashes, but lots of near misses, screeching brakes, and that the running of the stop sign was the primary concern. And so obviously like a really potentially really dangerous, potentially fatal accident type. So having the roundabout, you know, obviously there's still going to be speeding issues because, you know, when you have 1,000 cars going through intersection or more, you know, 2,000 cars going through intersection a day, you're going to get people that are behaving poorly. But with the roundabout, obviously there's a lot lower chance. Obviously fixing that small cars cutting off the roundabout is another concern. But people are slowing down here in a way that they weren't before. So I do, I feel good about that, even though, you know, there's no way to fix this completely, but based on what I've seen in terms of the data, and anecdotally, I think I'm pleased with this is the best that you can do without actually rebuilding the intersection, right? There's like limitations. Steve.
Yeah, I was going toward the long-term thing, I guess. What are the what are the possibilities of putting in something that has a truck apron, you know, mountable red concrete in the center so that the buses can make the turn at the speeds that they make that turn, but that motor vehicles would be discouraged from plowing straight over the roundabout by the speed bump effect.
Yeah, that is what we would look to do if we were to permanently install this.
In the long term.
It will be mountable. These splitter islands would be mountable. It would look very similar to the roundabout just the east of here at Bryant.
Okay. And would that involve real estate?
I
Or
don't believe so. You know, buses can make this turn, so they would just have to go over the center island more than they would at the other one. So.
Well, do we consider, let's see, would that solution also involve raised splitter islands
Yes.
to prevent the left turn in front from the small cars?
Yeah, those would still be mountable, so you could definitely still make that left turn that way. You'd just be bumping over a little curb.
To an order of magnitude, is this like 100,000 or $1 million or $10 million to do something like that?
Probably between 50 and 100,000.
Okay.
Well,
Well, I think that's what we should look at long term and figure out how to make the long term shorter.
Yep, we would look at that when we resurface this road, basically, which is in our kind of.
Do we have a schedule for that?
It's in our 5-year plan. It's not in great shape.
Okay, thank you.
Gabriela, since you were aware of this for a long time, have residents changed their view of this as like Does it acknowledge that this is efforts that the city is making, and do they feel like it's making a positive impact?
I think for some, like I have heard continued complaints, but I think that it's a very noisy intersection, and there are people that speed, and that has not, like, there are still people that speed and that still slam on the brakes when they get to the roundabout. So like from like a life, the irritation to everyday life, there's still those irritations. I think that's more driven by the number of cars that are going through the intersection. So I've had some conversation with them about the improved safety of it, that, I understand that your day-to-day experience is not necessarily better in every way, which is obviously frustrating for them, but hopefully they try to share that, I do think that there's the potential to have saved someone's life by avoiding a really, really catastrophic accident. But yeah, I think that it's hard when you have a high traffic intersection. It's never gonna be perfect in the way that people would like. So, and that's frustrating.
Really no alternative to divert some of the traffic somewhere else, like on a different road.
Yeah, I know, because you get highway traffic too when there's traffic on the Beltline. I think people will get off on Todd Drive and come over here.
Does Todd Drive actually connect to this? I guess town to the south.
Todd to Coho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there are
Go to the frontage road.
Yeah, there are speed bumps on Madison section of Greenway down here. So
We can't see where you're pointing.
oh,
I don't think we can.
okay. Well, to the west there's speed bumps.
Yeah, I think the grand scheme of the big picture that I express is that this is not a permanent solution. This is just something that we're working on to improve the situation in the short term until we can actually fix the intersection, which is obviously a much more expensive intervention.
Is this intersection on the high injury network?
I would have to double check that.
I'd be interested in what our future traffic safety consultants will say about this.
Yes.
We should
It's
kind of remind them to look at it.
I anticipate this being included in the comprehensive safety action plan.
So the higher traffic is east-west on Greenway, not the higher traffic number.
Yes, correct. And that's mainly driven by the amount of people who live on this street,
Yeah,
which you can't divert that traffic,
It's local
obviously.
people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere else in the city we've done this before with like the painted roundabout?
Nope, this is the first one.
Yeah, to that point, I think the data show this has been maybe an unmitigated success is a little strong, but only a little. Reducing the speeds by 3 to 5 and the likelihood of running stop signs seems like for the money we spent, that this is having a great impact. To Alder Gerhardt's point, yeah, some of the nuisance parts of the intersection may not be addressed with this, but some of the safety aspects seem to be. So I would love to see us do more of these, especially if we can test out. Again, we know now that we should do this, or very likely we'll want to do this when we resurface this road. As we start to have other roads that we need to resurface 5-10 years from now, it would be great to have that opportunity to try it out in advance before we then get to the point where we need to spend the larger amounts of money and realize that this may not have been the right solution. As we've learned from this, that we need the splitter islands. So I'm a huge fan of this for many reasons.
In regards to the paint, will you actually be painting the arrows?
Yes, they're there now.
Oh, they're there now.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, I haven't pictured it in a while.
There's been a lot of painting
I
on
can
roads
show
this
you later.
week.
Yeah.
Mark got a new stencil for arrows because he didn't have one big
Oh.
enough.
Stencil!
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Gabriella?
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, Logan was so eloquent. I will just briefly say I think that the process was great. I did want to note that the Safe Streets for All planning grants, which we have, do permit you to buy the materials for these kinds of projects. And we might want to earmark some of our $300,000 for the bollards and rubber curbs and armadillos and some of those other kinds of materials that we can use for these kinds of planning and experiments.
Perhaps on East Sherrill at Agora.
Right, yeah. Well, do you have to actually have a project named in order to spend that money? Or can you say, I might put a roundabout somewhere and so I want to buy materials so that it's ready for me?
I think you can have the consultant designate a demonstration area. So I don't think you need to have it before you apply for the grant.
Oh, I thought
That was my understanding.
that we already had.
Yes, yeah. I'm saying I think we could just, basically the consultant would say, I think these are the materials you should buy and you should put them here.
Yep, but then they say, too bad because we use your $300,000, so we'll have to find some other money
And
for it.
that's kind of my thought on it, is I want to spend all of that money on the grant, and then if we have a list of locations where we need interventions, I don't anticipate not being able to get that money
Okay,
for a demonstration project.
okay.
You guys can correct me.
It's a priority for me and Logan, so.
Well, speak for yourself.
288, yeah.
That's it for that one.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much, Russ, for the work on that. All right, our next discussion item is the 2027 to 2036 Capital Improvement Plan, CIP, for transportation projects.
All right, so I'll kind of go through this quick. But basically, I attached a list of our projects that we revised and then a list of our new projects. The revisions are honestly fairly minor this year. It's a lot of adjusting costs because we did better estimates and stuff like that. And then a lot of delaying projects because something happened that Public Works felt it would be better to delay the project. So I guess any questions on the revisions?
Are you still on my commented version?
No, but you had a comment on Extend BRT.
Extend BRT because Julia took that out of the 10-year CIP. And
So the Extend BRT that's just the name of the CIP item, is Extend BRT.
And that would be to extend it beyond the Triverton Pike stop.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
that's why I said Julia took that out.
Yes. So there is still funding, even though that name is kind of strange now because that funding is not in the 10-year CIP anymore.
Yes.
That is where the original BRT funding came from in the first place. And so we added in water, sewer, and storm funding for the construction of the McKee to Greenway part of
Okay,
BRT.
so this has nothing to do with anything south of Triverton?
Correct.
I see, thank you.
Correct.
Okay.
And then my other comment was on your new project.
3477, just because I wasn't clear where exactly that was. Seminole Path, Cannonball to city limit.
Yep, so this is the Cannonball Path here.
We
We're
can't
on-
see your screen.
Stop switching. So basically you go from the Cannonball Path on Seminole Highway, which it'll show up in a second, and it's this orange line to the north. So Rick, I think your comment was, where does the crosswalk needed? It's
Okay.
across Sentinel Pass.
Okay, I was thinking that the city limit was Sentinel Pass, but it's not.
For some reason, it's just north of there.
That's why you buy the crosswalk, got it, okay.
Yeah.
And somewhere Madison has a plan to run the bike path the rest of the way along 7 Highway up to.
Yes, it's named in their southwest area neighborhood plan. They don't have a year in that plan, it says in the CIP item that we would change the year to match whenever Madison's gonna do it.
Okay. Thanks.
Because basically once Madison.
Ross,
Yep.
east side versus west side. Our path south of Cannonball is on the east side. There are multiple intersections and driveways on the west side. Why is Madison running it down the west side?
Because that is where the people live in that neighborhood for Madison. The west side of the road, north of the border, is Madison, and the east side of the road is Fitchburg and the Arboretum.
Oh, right. Well, partway up. Then it becomes Madison on both sides.
Yes, yep. But yeah, Rick, I don't know if everyone heard him, but Rick brought up the point that it's very difficult to add infrastructure in the Arboretum. It is a lot of work, so.
Plus, it's more money
Yeah.
than Madison spends and less than Fitchburg spends, so keep it on the west side.
Correct. So, but yeah, to continue south, you would have to cross on the Cannonball Path, which there's an RRFB there that may someday have thermal detection again.
And is there already easement, especially for the Fitchburg part, but obviously for Madison too, to construct it like that?
No, there is not easement, so that's why my property acquisition number is so high for this. The path itself will not cost that much to construct, it's pretty short, and it would be pretty easy, but we would need a decent amount of property.
And you're not allowed to exercise eminent domain for that, so if there's an unwilling property owner, then that's it, you can't do anything.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless we get a law change.
Hope to get that fixed soon.
Yeah. So I'll go back
Buy the.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
We should buy the property at 4309 Sentinel Pass that we need while it's still vacant.
Fair. I guess I just want to go through some of these new projects quick. So I already talked about Seminole Path, Golden Gate Pass. For those of you that don't know, this is over by Highway 14. There is an underpass under Lacey Road right at the Highway 14 interchange that was designed to have a road go through it. And this would be putting that road through there to connect No Oaks Ranch to the north and then the development to the south. So this has water and sewer and everything in it as well. So it's time for 2032 because that's when we anticipate needing that connection and it being actually useful. And then Osmondson Road traffic signals. This project adds signals at McKee and Osmondson and Lacey and Osmondson. So the Lacey and Osmondson part is not in the mayor's proposed CIP. I'm working with Misty to see if we want to add it back in or leave it off because the 2037 is just, I put it there because it's the last year of the CIP. It might be further out than that. When traffic signal warrants are met at that intersection. So basically signals cost about $1 million and the only reason that these are listed as more than that is because of inflation, because 2032 is still 6 years away, so.
Ross?
Yep.
Osmondson at McKee, I was understanding that perhaps from past, from your predecessors, that because that the surrounding neighborhoods are fully built out, that will never meet warrants. Is your assessment of that different?
Yes. We're building.
Tell us more.
We're building Jamestown Quarry on McKee. That's increasing traffic on McKee. I definitely anticipate people from Jamestown. Most of them will go out to 18151, but there will be some that go along McKee, especially if they're gonna go to the east, you know, to like if people there work at the American Center or Hospital East campus.
City Hall.
Now, yeah, or City Hall. So.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
So the warrant could be met solely by traffic on McKee, and Osmondson traffic could remain exactly as it is today.
It's a little more complicated than that, but basically yes. Increasing traffic on McKee could trigger the warrants, and we also don't need to technically meet the warrants to put a signal in. If council decides to put a signal in, we can do it without it meeting warrants. And if there's also safety warrants as well. So
does a warrant trigger any funding, external funding?
If it is on a county highway, then if traffic signal warrants are met on a county highway, then Dane County will participate in the funding of the signal. This section here, McKee is fully city owned, so the county is not involved at all, even though it's signed as a county highway.
I thought it was a county highway.
So from Fish Hatchery to 18 and 151, McKee is fully city owned. West of 151, it's county owned.
So I should never refer to it as Highway PD.
You can, but I call it McKee, so we get credit.
Great. Any other discussion?
I just wanted to ask,
go ahead.
about delaying Sain from, by 3 years.
Sain North?
Yes, the last stretch between us and kind of the city of Madison. The stated reason here is to align with the Perry Street overpass. I'm just asked about this at the finance committee meeting, and I feel like I don't have a great understanding of how the Perry Street overpass affects Sain Road.
So let me pull up a map here, that will be easier. But basically, we're anticipating, I need Google Maps because Perry Street's not in. Basically, we're anticipating with a belt line over or underpass on Perry Street that we will see more traffic on this particular section of Sain Road. So just so everybody knows where we're at, in a second, I can show you where Perry Street is. So this is Perry Street, this is in the city of Madison. Perry Street used to cross what became the belt line. And then when the belt line was built and elevated, they cut off that crossing for Perry Street. And this project that the city of Madison is looking at would put in an overpass here.
I see.
Or underpass, but I think it's probably gonna be an overpass.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is a pretty direct route for a lot of people in the Burr Oaks subdivision in this south side of Madison to come down Perry Street and then to Sain Road. So that's kind of the anticipation there. We basically don't want to resurface Sain exactly the way it is now, and then in 4 years after we're done with that, we see a huge increase in traffic, and it would be very tough to add on to that road right after we resurfaced it. So after the Perry Street overpass is constructed, we might need to add a bunch more money into this project to beef up the road cross section a little bit.
Does Madison already have a year just in their 10-year plan for that?
I think 2031 is their goal, but they're gonna be done with the planning part of that project soon, and they'll have a more concrete year, I believe.
It'd be nice to have another connection across the belt line.
Yeah, I guess my confusion is if we assume that this Perry Street connection will go in, as Madison has stated, their intent to build that. I'm curious why we need to delay Sain rather than just, to your point, I don't want to build it and then have to add on 4 years later. So can we just, build it with that anticipated capacity sooner rather than waiting for the Perry Street project?
project to move forward, because whether it moves forward a year after we do Sain or 10 years later, we know that's within the lifespan of this expanded road.
But that's only a small stretch of Sain, right? The Fitchburg part that we would do, and then it would just transition back into the crappy road that it is now.
So I want to answer Logan's question, then we'll get to that statement. Madison's not done with their planning for this, so that involves traffic projections for how much traffic would use Sain. So maybe we change it again once they're done with their planning process, but I didn't want to be stuck in having to go into design next year, 2027, to build it in 2028 when we don't have enough information to design it.
Okay, now I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. It's, yeah, I want that data. I'm just,
Words. And then Rick, as far as like the ownership of Sain, so we would be looking to do this from the McCoy Road intersection up to Post Road, basically. This is half and half up here, from Nine Springs Creek to the north. It's half Madison, half Fitchburg.
Oh, it is. So the border is.
The border's the center line of Sain right here.
Oh, you're saying it's one side of Sain is ours and one side is Madison's.
Yeah.
Oh.
Interesting.
it's a mess.
And well, that could be an expensive road though, if you expand the cross section into that.
Yes.
That could be
it would.
really expensive road.
Yeah, but you would also do it simultaneous with Madison doing it.
So Madison would be cost sharing in this project. I would anticipate this section being Fitchburg led and Madison just paying us back basically, because most of this is Fitchburg. So, and Madison had they don't have any residents that live on this part of the road. It's marsh here, and we don't either. So, right.
Steve, go ahead.
Thank you. I've been advocating for the Perry Street overpass for about 2 decades, and I'm very happy that it's in the Beltline PEL study. Now I'm advocating for a CIP project to connect South Sain Road to North Main Street in Oregon, a bike and ped project. This will be a very, very important bicycle and pedestrian corridor connecting to the Madison at South Park Street. So I'm just real eager for this to be done the right way, and I look forward to having it done. Is that a separate project, Ross, that has the Sain Greenway extending north via boardwalk across the E-Way?
That would be a separate project. That's not in this CIP project.
Okay. It's not in the CIP, the current program. Okay.
Right. It's not. It would be a
No,
new CIP project in a future year.
And likewise, the project for South Sain Road to the Village of Oregon needs to be a new project too.
Correct.
This is also very important for transit. You might remember there used to be a bus route, I'm blanking on the number right now, that would do a lollipop loop through the Stewart Street Industrial Park area, which was very important for a lot of the employees, the same employees that you see riding beater bicycles across the Fish Hatchery Road Bridge to get to their jobs. So there's a lot of sources and destinations for bike and ped and transit traffic that would really be assisted by the Perry Street project. That's all.
All right. Any comments, questions on this or other CIP projects?
And for the commission, just for context, the council has already submitted amendments. Those should be released maybe as soon as tomorrow. It's pretty soon. And then we'll have a final, I think it's
early next week.
I have the schedule.
Yeah, I just realized I should actually pull up the schedule.
I just had
I
it
think
close
I have it in
up.
my head, but.
So it's in the agenda.
Who's gonna get it first?
Well, it's in our packet, and I think your packet,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the schedule.
Yeah, so but that is all to say that the amendments have passed, so like no new amendments can be added at this point. Amendments can be changed, but like you can't just like add at the last minute. The amendment process is very specific, so, but those amendments will be shared shortly. And then the public hearing on the amendments and the plan as a whole, plus the actual discussion amendments and adoption of the CAP will be at the next council meeting, which is July 28th.
But what did you mean the amendments have passed?
The window to submit new
The
amendments is
window,
passed.
okay.
Yes. So there will be discussion of the amendments that were submitted, but
At the July 28th meeting, those get voted on.
yeah, it kind of all happens at once.
Mhm.
All right. So we are at the end of our discussion items. Next, we have reports from other bodies. I was wondering if I could do Plan Commission first.
Yes,
Would
because
that
I
be okay?
otherwise would step on your toes.
So a few things, the syncopation development, which is the one off of County Highway that underpass that we're working on is going to be relevant for, has moved into a zoning process. So they have a plan development district general implementation plan updated. It's a pretty significant development. It's 30 owner-occupied single-family and duplex homes, 40 rental townhomes, 312 mixed-use rentals, which includes about 12,000 square feet of commercial space, and then a trilogy continuum of care facility, which includes 17 independent living, 40 assisted living, 16 memory care, and 46 skilled care homes, apartments. And then also be open space, infrastructure, and parks associated with the project. So it's pretty significant, but it is moving forward. They still have another round to go with zoning, but the project is moving forward.
Would that use up all of the land that's on the west side of MM? Does that consume basically everything that's there?
It's on the east side of MM, on the west side of 14. She's talking about the County Highway MM underpass, not the Golden Gate Pass underpass.
Yes,
East of 14,
yes.
west of MM, the clean fill
Okay,
site.
flip that.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Okay, sorry, my
Yes.
fault.
Yes. That was, okay, so it's where
I think it
pictured
takes up most of that land, but I'd have to.
But
And
not
to
all.
the south is the Osborne, so it's kind of where there's an old farmhouse and then where all the clean fill dirt's being added right at the interchange.
Right.
That is a different property,
Yeah, okay.
but it's north of that.
Okay.
And then almost.
How
all
about,
MM, or to McCoy.
Got it.
how about just south of McCoy, where all that dumpster storage is? Is that included?
It is not, but there's a sign out there that says for sale or rent, and then the land across the street is also for sale. The Springswood Motel, I believe.
Oh,
it
yes,
is.
yeah.
It's another part of Logan's district, so.
It's all on me.
Well.
Yeah.
A couple
There-
of things.
There's an interesting project to relocate East Clayton Road onto MM intersection that has been conceived of, but I don't know where it is officially in anybody's plans. Do you know about that, Ross?
I don't, so I don't believe it's in anyone's plans right now.
I'm now remembering it was, there was a past project to redevelop the Springswood land and make a mixed-use retail center out of it with multifamily housing and stuff like that, and that would relocate East Clayton, so that it would hit MM farther south and at more of a right angle. Kind of an interesting project, I guess never came to fruition, obviously.
All right, and then other things, there's gonna be a new Los Perez supermarket on Anton Drive, that's like, has the view of Verona Road. It's right near the new Blue Plate Catering. It's gonna be a bakery, grocery store, butcher, and a small taqueria restaurant. Did a full conditional use and ADR for that space. Also, the UPS building that's near the Walgreens, that facility is moving down Fish Hatchery Road You actually might have seen the sign. It's right across from the UW Credit Union down there. There's like a small mini strip mall, and that across from the City on the Hill Church, basically, across the street, across Mashesha Road. That will now be a new building. UPS is relocating there, and then they'll also have space for a second tenant that they have not yet determined. So the groundbreaking is happening very soon.
So it's a new building, it's not one of the existing buildings.
They're tearing down that building and they're building a new building.
And
East side of Fish Hatchery. Across
Yes.
from City on the Hill.
Yes, across Mashesha from City on the Hill, yeah.
so it's at the corner of Ocala and Fish Hatchery, and we approved the sale of a city-owned remnant from when we put Ocala through. And because of that, the building can move a little bit closer to the corner, kind of hug the corner, be a little bit more prominent and a little bit larger than what is
A
allowed.
two-story facade to kind of anchor the corner of that space. So yeah, that's gonna be coming soon. And then we also did a architectural design review for the new YMCA building, which you may have heard the news about. Spoke Drive and McKee Road, right by the bike path. Ground up new YMCA to replace the West Branch. It includes basketball, pools, fitness center, child care center from infant to 4 years old. And then they also will lease space to access community medical clinic. So it'll be a pretty big deal. And that would be moving forward very soon. I believe the work begins sometime later this year with a plan to have it complete in 2028.
What's the square feet of the whole facility?
Let me see if I wrote that down anywhere. I did not write it down, but it's a significant facility. Yeah, I know. I remember the Access Community Health. I think that's 10,000 square feet, just that medical facility itself.
Okay.
But yeah, it's big.
Big parking lot?
Oh yeah, yeah. They have 201 stalls.
Okay, and it's all surface parking?
Yes, all surface parking, and then they also have sufficient bike. I actually suggested that they might even want more bikes since they're running a bike path. They're probably going to have a little for more bikers than normal. I also wanted to mention too, we talked about it a little bit, but Route 75, I don't believe there's a stop there. But if we do extend that, if we do increase that bus service and when that facility is complete, we might want to consider moving or adding a stop at that location since it will be a highly used facility. And then the last note here, we did approve a contract with Hasil Levine to update our comprehensive plan and zoning code, which is a pretty big deal. It'll be a 3-year process, about 1.5 years for the comp plan update, and then at the very end of the comp plan update, we will start the zoning code rewrite. So there'll be a little bit of overlap, but that'll take another 1.5 years or so. But they are a very well regarded firm, and the staff is very excited to work with them. And that's Plan Commission. So our next bike and ped, do you want to do that? Oh, you want to do council next?
Sure. Most of the council items have already been covered, so I can make this very quick. We approved a future land use change to the land at the corner of, it's the southeast corner of Fahey Glen and Lacey Road. It was originally low density residential and neighborhood mixed use that has now been changed to medium high density residential. Couple things to note with the syncopation development that Alder Gerhardt mentioned. Originally, all of the roads were going to be private. One road at the southern end of that development now is public. So that can ensure better flow into the future development, the Osborne Home Farms development that may emerge at some point immediately to the south. So that way it's not a private road connecting into a public road. And causing any sort of weird oddities with that. There's also, I've talked to the developer with this one. He seems very excited about the opportunity to have Metro Transit serve that development. I do not have any updates on what that looks like. It sounds like they are still early on in the planning phases of what and how that would be routed through the neighborhood or to serve the neighborhood. I suppose worst case scenario, we could stop on MM and have the underpass serve one of the directions, although not ideal. Ross mentioned the sidewalk work that's underway. Council approved that bid at our June 23rd meeting. The council also approved this body's resolution on state transportation aid that we talked about at our last meeting. We approved a contract to continue working with the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission and the Village of Oregon on potential development in the southeast corner of the city where Oregon School District owns some land. It's literally the farthest southeast you can go in the city of Fitchburg without, it feels like Oregon, but it's technically still our city limits.
I think Steve had a question.
I was going to ask with syncopation, do they anticipate a signalized intersection on MM?
They do not have a signalized intersection in their TIA, but they need to add in traffic from Osborne, so we'll see on their next draft.
Thank you.
Is this idea of one of the streets in there being a public or a city of Fitchburg street, would it be a through street, like go from MM and back to MM, or does it just go in and stop?
So right now it's the original plan was kind of almost like a squiggly peanut that connected at MM at two different places.
Okay.
And now it's more of a circle coming from the north end down to the south end, and then another road coming in from the south end and curving south into the Osborne land to the south.
It's
That
like
would be
two
public.
L's,
Yes.
basically.
Like, yeah. Let's see if I can do this here. Upside.
I guess
Yeah,
because of
something
your,
like, yeah.
your comment about the being interested in the bus serving it, whether, like, would it be something where the bus could sort of come in and get out, or would
So-
it
Yeah.
turn around?
I've been talking with the developer and with Metro about this. Their development I don't think is gonna be dense enough to divert off of MM.
Okay.
So the stop would need to be on MM, and then we would want it at a signalized intersection.
Yeah.
Cause crossing MM would be off.
Yeah, except for the underpass.
Deadly.
Yeah.
But is the underpass at all aligned with any portion of syncopation, or is it further south than where syncopation?
It's on the south border, basically, yeah.
That concludes my council report, other than we do not have our meeting next week. We always cancel the first one in July. So we'll see you on the 20-something.
Nice long break.
Yes.
Bike and Ped did not meet in July.
All right, that's the end of reports. Future agenda items, any suggestions, comments? I'm sure there will be more.
I anticipate our TIA guidelines ordinance at our next meeting. That was, I meant to get that on this agenda, but because of the council meeting not happening, that kind of moved around everyone's schedule for approvals, so.
Alrighty,
next time.
hearing nothing else, we can move to announcements. Our next Transportation Transit Committee Commission meeting is gonna be on August 13, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
But I'm just
Second.
Sorry, motion and second, but we can discuss.
There was a discussion about canceling this meeting, then we decided we would hold this meeting. And then we've talked, I recall
Yeah,
we said something about canceling another meeting, and maybe it would be August, but no, we're gonna have the August meeting.
That's my plan right now. I think we had talked about, I was suggesting canceling the September meeting. Because I will be gone, but I think Steve's gonna be gone for the August meeting.
I will also be gone.
Checking.
Okay.
So the next planned meeting is August 13th.
Yeah.
But we may cancel, so stay tuned.
Yep.
Check the agenda before you come to our meeting.
Yep, we'll send out emails if it's canceled or.
Always
not.
check the agenda before you come to City Hall for a
Yeah.
meeting, to make sure that the meeting is on.
Yep.
All right, so we have a motion to,
I just want to thank Gabriella for filling in. I'm in Minneapolis.
thanks, Steve, safe
So thank you.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're
Aye.
adjourned at 8:34 p.m. Have a good night.